Right, towards the business sessions now. We have regular input at conference, although it seems like an awful long time ago since we actually did one of these. We have some retained specialists as part of the Sheep Plant Association. So for those of you who don't know, we have a ring of defence, and part of that is a retained health and safety specialist. I'm delighted that Andy Ely from TUV UK is here today, and he's going to give us what will become his regular health and safety update. So thank you.
Afternoon. Trust you've all found your complimentary bag of rotten fruit under the chairs ready there. It's a bit of a surprise, actually. I seem to have a bit of a frog in my throat, which is a bit ironic considering Brexit, but never mind. Also, I never expected to have anything in common with two first speakers on the podium. Not only did I spend a large part of my life in Loughton in Essex, as did Jack Straw. My brother and sister went to the same school as him. Also, I'm not a stone's throw away from Brentwood and the Sugar Hut, where Jack also went to school. I mean, the school, not to the Sugar Hut, of course, but to Brentwood School. But also, I had the pleasure of being accused of trying to break the land speed record by two gentlemen in uniform sometime in 1980. But unlike Richard, I wasn't invited to the palace to accept an OBE. I was invited to Barking Magistrates Court to accept a large fine and several points on my licence. But anyway, just something to highlight first. It's the Sheep Plant Association, say that when you've had 8 pints of Guinness and just put a new set of teeth in. Health and safety audit. This is a very much recommended general health check for your organisation. It's a general organisation risk assessment. It's a critical overview of your health and safety management system, and will also give you an evaluation of your statutory compliance. In addition, it's hazard and risk spotting around your premises, and also highlighting good practices and pats on the back where appropriate. But unlike ISO auditing, we're aiming, where possible, to give you practical advice. So we will give you a prioritised action plan about how to put the things right that we may have found to criticise. So we're looking at practical advice to solve problems, and it's not hit and run exercise. The difference is an ISO auditor is not actually permitted to tell you how you might put the thing right, but we can use examples of good practice and recommendations of things that we've seen elsewhere around the industry. Also, if you're a first-time member, the SPA can offer you, as one of its initiatives, a reduced rate for your first audit. So it's worth checking out the SPA website for that, and also contacting me if you are interested. Right, just a short highlight on this occasion about change management. It's a very big subject, but we've only got about 10 minutes, so we'll highlight the main parts of change management. If you're a large organisation, part of a group, you may well have all three of these ISO standards. Smaller organisations, many of you have ISO 9001. All three of these standards require you to have processes to manage change. And if you look at 45001, the health and safety standard, this includes new products, services, processes or changes to existing products, services and processes, including workplace locations and surroundings. So without reading out all the other ones, as a background there, the main ISO standards require you to manage change in a proper manner. The starting place for this, I think suitably, is Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulations 1998. You are permitted to throw rotten fruit now, if you so wish, abbreviated to PURE. And the first significant regulation is 4, which deals with suitability of the equipment. People doing a pure assessment get excited about the suitability bit. Oh yes, of course it's designed for the purpose we're intending to use it for. It's constructed and or adapted so as to be suitable. Yeah, that's great. We tick that box and run on. However, this particular regulation also has some other important components. Importantly, consideration of ergonomic factors, in other words, the interaction between your machine and process and the human being, and possibly more significantly when companies are buying a piece of equipment, consideration of the location of it, where you're going to put it, how it may affect other processes and how other processes may affect it, like consideration for ventilation, emissions, proximity to other processes, particularly significant in this industry, traffic routes as well as other machine operations. So it's a part of that particular regulation that people often skip past. Nope, hasn't worked. CE marking is going to be with us for longer than expected. I only found out recently that apparently in August the CE marking was going to continue until 31st of December 2022. It was previously 2021. So UKCA marking will be relevant from 1st of January 2023. This requires that the equipment you're buying satisfies essential safety requirements. It should be supplied with a declaration of conformity and user instructions in English and free from any obvious defects such as missing or damaged guards. However, this is only a self-declaration. It's only a claim by the manufacturer that this machine meets these requirements. So the user of it, the purchaser, has to check that it's actually safe to use and compliant, i.e. a pure assessment, an assessment against the regulations before you put it into service. Compliance assessment, I know some of you have done this, it may be advisable before you actually purchase the equipment. I know that people have travelled to other countries to have a look at stuff and also ask for significant improvements to the machine before they buy it. But this, I'm focusing on machines because this is like where most of you, particularly the smaller companies, may need the information, but it also would apply to any process that you're going through. Second-hand equipment, even if CE marking is not relevant to it, like it's pre-1992, it still has to be supplied in safe condition as per Health and Safety at Work Act, Section 6. So, a summary of this: suitability, how will adjacent operations be affected or affect the new process? So this could be physical hazards from proximity, and it could be noise. If you're installing a new process, you haven't previously had one there, adjacent to others, you could be significantly increasing the noise in that region. So you'd be looking to have a noise survey done, or at least a ballpark assessment based on the noise output from that process. You may well need to consider storage and handling. You've got a new process, something that sucks in 10 pallets of raw material an hour. Where are you going to put that stuff? What happens if the machine breaks down? You've got pallets building up. Not sure if you guys can take advantage of just-in-time delivery and hold up deliveries and stuff like that. And similarly with finished goods as well. You might have a nice, shiny new process that really chucks out the finished goods. How are you going to transport them? How are you going to store them? Particularly looking here at some of your main risks, which are pedestrian segregation from moving vehicles. On the people aspect, the supplier has to give you an instruction manual, but it's no good throwing that instruction manual at the operator and expecting them to be able to put that into a usable format. So it's an idea to work with the supplier or the commissioner to produce from the instruction manual a modular kind of system of work document that covers all processes, including operator maintenance, operator cleaning, from feed to takeoff, and is easy, modularised, and can be signed off by the trainer and the trainee.
Does that include safe operating procedures at that point?
So, yes, that's what I mean. A system of work, safe operating procedure. Some people call it a safe system of work, SOPs, whatever, the same kind of thing. Importantly, with installation and commissioning, you need to ensure that the people that you've engaged to install and commission are competent. You can't contract out your own liabilities under safety law, so you'd be advised to do a due diligence on the people that are doing this for you and think twice before you're thinking about doing this yourself, particularly if lifting operations are involved. So you need to vet the people that you are engaging to do this to ensure that they're competent as far as you can. Take a look at what they're doing. The buzzword is kind of RAMs, their risk assessments, their method statements. What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? And see how you may adversely affect them and how they may adversely affect you. Plant must be checked as satisfying UK requirements following commissioning. All guarding and safety devices verified as operational. So regardless as to whether the guy commissioning it has said, yeah, this is okay, we have had cases where guarding has been left off during commissioning. But anyway, I hope you find that useful. If you've got any questions about that, then please let us have them. Apart from that, I shall put my shield up to avoid the deluge and go.
Thanks very much, Andrew.
Okay.